Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to all you beautiful souls and friends of mine. I'm Larry the Lion. This is my podcast. Uh Hope you're all having a great Wednesday. It's the hump day, middle of the week, and I hope everybody's doing what they need to do and move the needle ahead 1% today. So let me do this here. Trying to look at the camera and still do my little sharing things here. I do. Um, Give me 1 second. Sharing things here. I do. Yeah. So, man, last night I was hurting from all the walking through that neighborhood. It was hot, 105 degrees. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. Um, and give me 1 more second here. I'm gonna share this again to the. I don't even know if people watch it when I share it to WhatsApp, but we're just sharing it anyways. Got a couple groups on there. And then I'm gonna share here. One more place. I'm gonna have to go through all those um Facebook groups and message each one of them. See if I can share back to those Facebook groups because I don't want to get black banned off of what you call it the Facebook groups because they said I had too much content deleted. So um, I'm not sure who deleted what, but let's see. There we go. Sharing here to a couple people on Facebook. So last night, I was coming back on the train. No exciting rescues of people's lives. I made a bunch of videos the other night, and I got some different feedbacks on it, and I wasn't intending to make fun of those people. I think some people misconstrued and weren't really paying attention. They seen me smiling. Maybe they didn't even listen to what I was saying, but I was never laughing at those people. I felt sad for them. I felt heartbroken to see them like that. I was laughing with the guards, the security guards. I was laughing at a passenger who behind me thought I was recording him, and he was saying, "Oh, you don't have my permission." And the guard was like, even the security guard told him, he said, You're in public, sir." And she was like, "You keep filming, you do what you want to do." Um, and I do it. I did it because I try and just show every bit of my life that I can. Um, and those are the people I want to help, you know, because I was those people 19 months ago. Um, and there was somebody, I'm not even gonna mention his name because he had made some comments to me before about me going to community camp and inviting my friend Elizabeth, who wasn't my girlfriend or wife or family member. But if a lot of you know my story, I don't have family. I walked away from my mother, all my brothers and sisters, and all of their children, and every other person I knew to change my life. And it was the right decision. None of them have called me. My brother tried sabotaging me early on in my journey. He was the last one I talked to. My mother's only called me 3 times in 19 months. You know, 3 times. That's it. And it was only probably to talk about herself. And I let it go to voicemail and deleted it. So Elizabeth is my family. She is my best friend. One of my best friends. I have a couple best friends. Um, it would have been either her or Tigger, but Tigger got selected. So Tigger was able to go with her and her husband, and that was awesome because I hadn't seen Tigger since November 7th, and I hadn't seen Elizabeth since or November 9th of last year when I drove cross country after I joined Sub 2 to meet Pace. He bought us all lunch because all the students, when Angela and Wayne and him walked that property, um, that they bought the multifamily. So he said, messaged me on Instagram and said, "Oh, you're laughing at somebody else's misfortune." Again, I don't think he watched any of the things. He just saw me laughing because when I pulled up the clip that he was laughing at, I could barely hear myself. And, you know, every clip I made was 1 minute long. That's, if you watch my Facebook and Instagram stories, you see that I make those clips. And so instead of engaging him and trying to rationalize with him, there's just some people that are going to hate on you no matter what you do. Um, and so I blocked him on Instagram and Facebook and didn't even just say nothing. You know what? I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to try and justify everything I do. And, um, you know, for whatever reason, he doesn't like me. And it's cool. Not everybody's going to like me. And I'm okay with that. Um, yeah, Anthony. Good morning to you, buddy, or good afternoon, maybe. I'm not sure what part of the country everybody's in. So, um, those are the people. That's one of the things I want to do is sober living. I want to purchase property. That's why I'm doing this real estate investing is eventually to have sober living houses. Um, because there's so many people to help, and you could see that there's three men they had to pull off that train. One they had to give Narcan to, and there was I could only pray for those people. Yesterday when I started working, had Manny drop me off at the Circle K in the neighborhood I was working at. Young man, young kid came up to me, asked me for a cigarette. I still smoke. Um, Down to a pack every 3 days. Trying. I like my coffee and my morning coffee and morning cigarette. Hey, I think it's okay. Considering what I walked away from 19 months ago, it's a little vice I have still, coffee and a morning cigarette. And the kid was just dirty, and I gave him one, of course. And um, and then I got mad at him. I said, "Dude," I said, "when are you gonna fucking get off the drugs? When are you gonna stop this shit?" I was like, I go, "Look, when's the last time you had a shower? When was the last time you slept in a bed? There's help out there." And there is. Like when I was on the streets of Vegas, I was homeless out there 3 times, maybe four. I can't remember. Man, probably 5 times. 'Cause I lived in my car a couple of those times before I lost the car. Um, there's help out there. You just you you got to go seek it out. I said, and I didn't want. I felt bad getting angry with him. I mean, I helped him, and then I offered to get him something to drink, get him some food. And he's like, "Nope, I don't want food yet." He's like, "Can I get some money? I need drugs." I was like, "Really? Did you just hear any fucking thing I just said to you?" Some people are just, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Just like those guys on that train. There probably is nothing you can do with them either. And all we can do is pray for them, those souls. Um, and that's why I want to do sober living, for to help the people that want the help. Um, part of when I was homeless out there on the streets. I'd gotten off the drugs before the pandemic started. I took advantage of that help that was available because my family told me just die. And I didn't do anything wrong to any of them except borrow money from my mom and stepdad that I couldn't pay back. Um, I didn't have any children. I didn't have a wife. I didn't like my all three of my sisters. Um, I talked about it yesterday. Um, my one sister left five of her children, left her husband to go, you know, to do a bunch of stupid shit. I'm not gonna really put what she did, but it was like, really, he was like my father figure, and then it separated him away from me because I don't know, because my father died Thanksgiving morning, 1981, and my other sister, she had four children with three other men. And, you know, she was an alcoholic always. Like hiding bottles under her bed. My brother, he's a functioning alcoholic. Sleeps with a whiskey bottle by his couch because he doesn't even sleep in his bed. He's got a bed and he just likes to fall asleep watching TV drunk. Um, I, my oldest sister, the standard for my mother held us up to PhD teacher. Her and her husband own a liquor store, and on their son's first birthday, they went to a picnic and got drunk, and husband drove into a tree and killed their son. But I'm the bad guy in the family. Um, so I've been through it. I grew up in an alcoholic family. My father was an alcoholic, beat my mother. I'm not sure if my mother beat me first or he beat her first or how it came down, but it cycled down to me and then it cycled down to my brother. I beat my brother up because that's all we knew in the family was violence. Um, but I love my father. He protected me when my mother would beat me. But he would come home drunk from our bar in our bowling alley, which was my future where I would go spend my time because I didn't want to stay in the house with my sisters and my brother and my mom. Um, I'd go to the bowling alley. My dad was saying this is all gonna be yours. And then after he died, my mother let her brother, my uncle, run it, and he didn't pay the fucking taxes and lost my future for $32,000. Um, so it's not like I didn't go through it, and um, I grew up with it. But there is a way to get off the street, and those people need help. What could I do for any of those three men on that train? They were stone cold passed out, and maybe it shouldn't put them on there, but maybe people need to see what's going on sometimes. Um, like I said, I show you the good and bad and the ugly in my life. Maybe it's some people think I shouldn't have made those videos, and other people were like, because I did have some compassion. I did, I prayed for them. Even remember when I was off the train, one of the videos I said, God bless them. I hope they get some help. I mean, the one guy they were saying we might need some Narcan for this one. Um, the other two was one guy was just faking being drunk because he was awake before, and that's the one I was laughing about because they're pounding on the seat, and you can see his eyes flickering like every time they pounded on the seat. He just didn't want to get off the train. So I thought that was funny. Um, just it is what it is. But that person I blocked last night, he just wanted to start an argument with me, and I don't think he'll be able to see this because he's blocked unless he watches me on YouTube, which I doubt he is. Um, but he's part of our community. I don't I don't really get any bad feedback from a lot of people. But like I said, I was clean at the start of the pandemic. Um, But when they told me I was the first to die because I was fat, I smoked cigarettes, and um, I was like, well, I'm not gonna die alone and not be high. So I ordered Uber Eats, DoorDash, stuff from Whole Foods, bourbon, and drugs. And 21 months by myself, 167 hours a week, and go to Albertsons once a week for, take an Uber there and get groceries and get money and get bourbon, and then go back home for 167 hours till the next week, till I got my next check. And I was intended to spend every dime I made every week. I was making $2,000 or $3,000 a week because they said you're gonna die. So I said, well, what's the point in saving this money? What's the point in, the world's ending? That's people dying all over Earth from that. So I went back down that hole, and thank God you know, I made a post yesterday about put God first in everything you do, and that's what I do. You know, God just keeps blessing me, small blessings, big blessings. But ever since I put Him first, and it's not like I didn't have a relationship with Him before that. I always did. I mean, 32 years I smoked crack, and I don't know how many nights there are in 32 years, like 12,000 something, but 10,000 or more of those nights I cried myself to sleep, begging God to end it, take it away. Um, I I did go to church. Every time I went, I felt guilty for being in there, but uh, I kept trying. I got baptized the first time in 1999, and I thought things were going to change, but they didn't. But a couple of the pastors, there was Pastor Phil at my mom's church that I would go with her and my stepdad too, or my second stepdad, who ended up molesting one of my nieces. And, that was something that I had to fight through too. Um, I was like, really, God, this guy's supposed to be a man of God. He was like all involved with the church, and that shook my faith. But I never stopped believing. And when I actually put Him first and kept my word, um, that I said, God, I'd never do this again. I said, I'm done. I'm done this time. But even then, on April Fool's Day, I did relapse April Fool's Day. And I've told this before, of all days to relapse. Um, and I almost lost everything that I've gained right now. Um, and I couldn't believe I did that. But I did quit February 13th, relapsed one day, April Fool's Day, a few hours, and thank God I snapped out of it. Um, it was everything that I've gotten so far, and a lot of people ask me, there's people that message me and say, "Why are you doing this? You haven't made any money." Like I had one friend, he said when I went to community camp, he said, "You're just going there to spend money on these gurus." I didn't spend any money going to community camp. I had to get GoFundMe to help me get there. It didn't cost me. See, people just they see what they want to see, but they didn't realize the value I got from going that, and the validation for me that I made the right choice in going down this path. Um, Going to community camp meant a lot to me. It meant so much to be chosen by being a jetty. Um, so grateful Casper, Pace, Abraham Gray, Vina. Just I wouldn't have missed it. And I did end up kind of homeless because of that. And I said, I don't care. I'm going because there would never be another event like that. But I made relationships there that propelled me, and the like Pace says, you have to be known. People have to know you to do business with you. The more people you know, more people want to do business with you. Look at Pace. Everybody wants to do a deal with him. Everybody wants to do deals with Abraham Gray and Alexis Morgan. Look at her, 19 years old. Because people know them. Vina Jetty. Everybody wants to do a deal with Vina Jetty. Um, I'm not saying I'm nowhere near their caliber yet. Might be one day. Um, but there's always going to be haters. I can't please everybody in what I do. Um, but I'm gonna try and be the best person that I can every day. And if I ever make it, there's this one video that I made too. Early on my journey. Last year it was in Las Vegas. There was a similar kid, like the kid yesterday. Call him a kid because he was probably 18 to 22 years old, something like that. His name was Tony. Every time I saw him, all he wanted was a lighter and money. He said, "Do you have a lighter? Do you have any money?" I try and give him food, and he didn't want it. So I made a video one day. I was on a bus, had to catch a bus. I didn't have any money. Um, all I had was my EBT card. Um, I was at the gas station. He was in front of. He's always in front of that same gas station where I catch the first bus. I'm first bus up. And a lot of people mistook that video um, because they didn't see that I went into the McDonald's there and they were doing a shift change, and I had a couple dollars. I was gonna get him there, like uh, whatever they had, like the dollar sausage biscuit things. Um, and I was gonna get myself a coffee. Uh, well, I had to catch my bus, so I just went to the register. I grabbed a bag of donuts and two orange vitamin waters because it was close, and I said, "Here, I gotta catch the bus. Use my EBT." Um, and I brought it out to him, and I took a couple pictures and video of what I bought him and what I gave it to him. And it was the first time he actually sat down and ate the food. A lot of times I gave him food before and he just left it, but I kept trying to help Tony. Um, and I made the video so maybe their family would see him, and come help him. Um, but I got a lot of flack from it. But then I had 2.7 million views on it, and I think it was like, I don't know, I haven't checked it in a while, but 17,000 comments, or 18,000 comments, and about 10% of them were bad, but overwhelmingly a lot of people. And I started fighting with the initial bad comments, like I would have fought with the person that sent me that message. And I shouldn't have fought them. I shouldn't have try and justified what I did to help him. Um, because they didn't see that I was late for my bus and had to get to work. And I didn't have time to run across the street to Smith's and get him some good food. Um, they didn't know the history of him. Um, just like I made the video that they didn't know that the one guy wasn't he was faking there. And the other two, and I didn't even know the third one. He was on another car behind. When I saw them pull, I was like, wow, three of them. And the first one, though, and I said, oh my God, I hope he's gonna be okay. Um, because when I heard him say Narcan, I was like, oh fuck, that sucks. He's like near death. So a lot of people only see what they want to say, or have, they think they know what's going on, but they don't. They're not there. And I didn't mean to go on this tangent, but like I said, I share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Maybe I shouldn't have made those. Maybe I should have. Maybe people become more aware there's still problems out there. It's not all everybody, makes all their videos and stuff on Instagram and Facebook. They only show the highlights of their life. They don't, there's some people that, show, I've seen other videos where, they just by all the homeless camps and stuff. But it's, it was part of my life that day. It's part of my history. And it's also a reminder to me that I don't want to go back to that life, because maybe one day I'll watch through my archives on my deathbed, of all my videos I made. Um, and it was just, you know, I don't know. Sorry for going down this tangent, but um, I'm in a better place. I'm in a really good place. Um, about to go in and help another sub two student's family by taking over the lease for her brother. His son passed away in Alabama. He had three other children that he has to, you know, be with because he just lost his son. And he's had some troubles, and I'm not going to elaborate on those. Um, but that's the last thing he needs, to have a broken lease and mess up his credit and have debt. So it's a good way to give back and help somebody else. It's not the place where I ideally wanted to live, but excuse, excuse me. Um, it's an opportunity for me to be a go giver and, you know help a fellow sub two student's family out. Um, but it is a prime location for what I do though, because I'm doing these solar sales. And again, it took me 2.5 hours to get back here to Manny Perez's house. Manuel Perez, Manny Perez, another sub two student that I'm staying with. Such a good guy, such a good father. You have no idea how good of a father he is. Um, he doesn't have rules for his sons, he has standards. And I was watching a video of Pace last night when I got home, talking to a kickboxer champion or somebody. I don't know. I don't follow sports, but I think he was some kind of champion because Pace called him champion. Um, talking about standards, not rules, but standards. And it's one of the things, part of our country with the drugs and homelessness and it was also no, it was. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little confused. Andrew Tate, I was watching with Patrick Bet David and somebody else, but they were saying that the lack of, men are not being men anymore in this country. Um, they're they're told that it's okay to be, uh, sh- you know, weak, and I'm trying to get the whole interview what he said, but it was a combination of both. Pace said something, but then I watched that. Whatever you feel about Andrew Tate, a lot of people don't like him. I don't approve of everything he's done, but he does speak some real truth, some real hard truths. Um, Men and families in general, they they don't have standards anymore. They You go back to the 50s and 60s, the things that the children of these families are doing and what they're allowing in schools, um, just there's no standards in this country anymore. We need to go back to those standards. And I watch with how Manny raises his son. He has standards. He doesn't have rules for his son. He has standards. And his son knows that there's consequences if he doesn't keep those standards. So it sounds silly, but if he doesn't pick up his toys, he knows that Ponix, their dog, um, will eat him. So when he doesn't pick him, Manny says, "Well, all right, you don't want to pick him up, you don't have to." But then he sees the consequences. He says, "This is why we have a standard, son. Your standard is you need to clean up before we go to bed." Um, and he has other standards and stuff, but he doesn't have rules like, "Hey, he didn't do it." He shows him, the consequences of not having those standards. He's a great father, a great single father, which is really hard, and they don't get enough credit in this country. Um, there is a lot of good fathers out there. It's always, the single mothers. There's a lot of them, and that goes back to standards again. Um, why do we have all this the way it is? Because we don't have standards in families anymore. People used to be afraid of tarnishing their family's name. That's what Andrew Tate was talking about. Um, he people. Uh, I wish I could quote it. I didn't expect to go down any of this road right now, but um, the one thing that I'm grateful for is if God blesses me with children and a wife. Um, I'm gonna take what I learned from Manny here, and apply those standards. Um, be a better. What is this thing? I don't know what this HP jump starts. What the heck? Um, you know, not only am I grateful for Manny letting me stay here, but he's taught me a lot of lessons being here. He's encouraged me to get back on a diet and um, helping me set standards for my day and the consequences of not keeping those standards. Um, like I can't point one out right now, but you go see if you would have your day in your calendar, you wouldn't have done it. Blah blah blah. Set up. This wouldn't happen. He goes, that's why you have standards. You have a standard that you have to have your day set up properly, and you have to have a schedule. And I learned this from Jesse Stanton, the growth company, but I it's more applicable when I have actual live feedback from a friend here. I mean, like I said, I love this community, but a lot of it's done virtually. But that's why one of the reasons I came here to get in more involved with community, more people here, more higher concentration. Like uh, I went to Salt Lake City last week, and I didn't get to go to church. There's the church, Pillar Church, where there's a lot of sub two students that go there. Some legendary sub two students like Daryl Ellison, Mindset Marlin. Um, those are great people to have access to every Sunday. And the standard is going to church. That's very important to me. That's one thing I was really missing in Florida and New Philadelphia, Ohio, where I was before that. There was a church I went to. It was good, but just didn't ever felt. There's some things I loved about the church, but then there was, I don't know, Tommy, the preacher there. He was a good guy, Tommy Miller. I didn't like a couple things he did. Um, but Pillar Church is really nice. I mean, Kevin Cho goes there. Mine's at Marlin, Elena Tran, Elena Kirk Trang, and I can't say I mess up her name. um, some really OGs in sub two go there. There's quite a few. Uh, I don't know exactly how the exact number, but and then they go out to breakfast or lunch after service. How cool is that? A meetup at church with sub two students and legendary sub two students. Um, but yeah, you have standards. You got to have standards in your life. One of the standards is I gotta not eat any more sugar. My knees were killing me so bad last night. But there was a woman. She's a personal trainer and she's sober. We connected at Salt Lake City. She was in one of the vendors there, and she had some health products. And she gave me these little packets. I don't know where they went. I had one up here. Um, it's like oh snap, you snap the packet. And I thought it was like an old snap, and she's like, no, no, you don't put it in your mouth. She was like, you put it on your skin. I'm like, I was almost snapped. She goes, it's for your knees and aches and pains, the CBD. I was, oh, because she had gave me something for the drinks. Man, I put that thing on last night. And thank God she gave me those. I was like, I could barely walk. My knees are hurting so bad from eating sugar and the weight that I gained back since June 1st. I was at 273 pounds June 1st. And then I let go of my standards. I was going to Crunch Fitness still, but then I started eating sugar again and garbage. And after I'd moved out from Sonari's, where I was doing the carnivore diet and no sugar, no carbs, and everything, I let go of my standards. And now I'm paying for that. This is the consequences that I got this amazing job, but I could barely even do it last night. I mean, amazing to me because I needed a job and I lined it up before I got here. $28 an hour, and I have one appointment today, and I'm 95% sure she might not qualify though. She already had solar panels on the top, but they didn't replace the electrical panel. But that's $500 if it gets a sale, and then I have another one for Friday. Then it bumps me up to $40 an hour. But I still got to be able to walk in. They require a certain uh pace. You got to hit like 80 to 100 houses um for those 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. Doesn't seem long, but when you're out walking in 105 degrees heat, even though it gets dark and starts cooling off, it's still hot. You're out there. You're knocking on people's doors, and and man, there's some really bad houses, some rough houses I knocked on. A couple of people get angry. I step back. I got this vest on that they give me. But it is what it is, a temporary job. Now, it when I get to the apartment where I'm gonna be living, I'm gonna have standards. I'm gonna have my time block based on the current work schedule, um, where I'll be able to keep doing what I'm doing. Um, Calling real estate agents, which I haven't been doing much of lately because I've been all over the place. Um, but you have to have standards. You have to have your day's time block, which brings me back to the train ride last night. Um, there was a kid on there. I mean, he looked like he was 13 years old. When I asked him how old he was, he told me he was 23. But he was really good kid, and he just, I have no idea why he chose to ask me who I was and where I was from. I was like, and I was really tired when he did it. But then when I was like, hey, this kid's wanting to talk to me and find out about who I am. So I actually turned around and found out who he was first before and I took really an interest when he said he was teaching children, young kids. And I said, how old are you? And he said 23. I was like, dude, I thought you were 13. And I mean, really looks 13. Uh, really super nice guy, and he's doing entrepreneur teaching. And when he said entrepreneur, I'm like, entrepreneur? What are you teaching these kids? So I got really interested, and he's part of some program where he's helping these kids and um, kind of mentoring them in a way, but they're teaching them financial literacy and stuff that they don't teach in school, which I thought was really great because if we taught financial literacy to children and had standards and then showed them the consequences of screwing up your credit cards and buying Air Jordans and Chanel bags instead of buying this, property or investing, you know, the consequences that you blew all that money and you're just stuck in the job, because we don't have enough standards in this country. We don't have that instilled in the families, um, like it used to be. Think everybody can uh, do what they want, which is freedom. But anyways, back to the kid. He was great, and then I started telling him about Pace Morby and my journey and how I got here. And whenever I tell people about that, I always say, "Look, I'm never going to ask you for any money, and I'm not going to encourage you to join our mentorship because it costs a lot of money, and you have to be a good fit for the community. But I'm here to help you if you want. I can help you the best I can. I can put things together for you, but you have to take action on your own too." And he got really interested. And then I tried having him scan my Blink card on his phone. And he's like, "Well, I haven't been able to pay my bill right now." So, and I didn't ask him why. I said, "Wait, hold on, I got you." So I turned on my hotspot and hooked him up. He's got my Blink card. Then I got him over to YouTube. First to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then to subscribe to Pace's channel. Showed him my 3-minute Calendly appointment video telling me about my life and how I got here. A brief synopsis there that it is. Um, and he was like, he really got interested, and I was excited to see a young kid. Hey, this, I told him about uh Miriam Orellana's children, Pedro and Catherine, and Meg Frias's daughter, and Victor and Karen Lanza's children, and Alexis Morgan. I said, look at these kids. They're going to be like, by the time they're 25, they're all going to be millionaires on their way to being billionaires. Um, that's the thing, if you're in this community and you're raising your kids, getting them involved, look how much value that is you're adding to this country and um, their families, And I told him about, he knew who Ed Milet was, and what he's doing was great, but he was following still the playbook. Go to college, take a student loan out, put yourself in debt. Um, and I said, like, there's a different way. You can be the one to change your family's bloodline, to change their. And he told me about his father, how he worked for investors. He was like a property manager at a multifamily. And he was saying, my dad used to bring me. We had to pull up carpet and we had to tear the stuff out. I go, wouldn't you rather be the person that delegates and hire those people instead of being the person doing that work? And he had never really thought about investing and he was just, get, you know, pay your bills and um, go to school and take on debt and, the the playbook that they want us all to be in, which is, the matrix, like Andrew Tate was saying, they want us to all be unhealthy. They all want us to be in debt. They want us to be workers. And I told him how John D. Rockefeller um, made it started the basic school system we have right now. Um, he didn't want people to think and be free. He wanted workers. That's why you go to school in the morning. Why you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Um, families before that, they used to eat like, once a day, like after, they some would have breakfast, but it wasn't always like we have this breakfast, lunch, dinner, this program that they've got us on. And then all the garbage food that they feed us. And now they're, you know, they're gonna try and take away meat from you and replace it with uh plant-based, insect-based foods. Um Insects. You're gonna be eating insects. That's what they want. They want you to be sick and you relying on the pharmaceutical companies. I wish I think it's somewhere on my YouTube, but it's a really good interview. Whether you like Andrew Tate or not, that man, he really talks some truth. Um, and a lot of the like Andy Frisella at the end of the Limitless, he was talking about entrepreneurs and how we can change this country and um, change this world. And that's what I believe with Sub Two as well. We're changing things. We're helping people. We're part of the change that needs to happen. This community, all these communities, Astro and being the Jetties, mastering multifamily, deal maker. I mean, we're doing things that they don't want us to do. They don't want the general public to know this knowledge. Um, I don't even know why I went down all this road. But yeah, so one of the things though, and uh, I realized why I started this podcast, and I still have a hell of a long way to go. But and I gave that 7-second question that I was asked last year. Um, it was to join Stephen Kotler's flow state program, Zero to Dangerous. I did it to Pace in the airport. I do it to help people all the time. Especially, I've been doing it at meetups to people that are just getting into this. And I always say, this is what Elon Musk asks everybody that works with him, not for him. And I asked the kid yesterday, there's a difference, right, between working with and for. He's like, I think I know what you mean. I said, well, when you're working for somebody, you're an employee, you're doing what you're told. When you're working with somebody, you're building a vision and a plan together, not being a worker to build somebody else's visions plan. So 7 seconds. And I told him, I said, whatever answer you say is right. Don't overthink it. Don't think too hard. Just say the first thing that comes to mind. It's not the wrong answer. And it is the right answer, whatever it happens. Um, Pace, when I asked him, said, I'm a billionaire. And it's because it is I'm sorry. The question is, ready, go. 7 seconds. Um, what are you doing 10 years? Tell me. And Pace said it instantly. And my answer was, I'm speaking to 100,000 people at Allegiant Stadium. I didn't even hesitate. It was just the first thing that came out. Mind you, I'd only been clean for like 3.5 weeks when I said that. And I hadn't heard of Ed Milet. I had watched some motivational videos like E.T. Eric Thomas, who was at Limitless. I used to watch a lot of his motivational videos. I watched some Eddie Pinero at that time. He's a great one. But there was a lot of people that spoke on that stage, like Cody Sanchez, Andy Frisella, uh, Andy Elliott, uh, and Keaton Hoskins, and Fleischman. I mean, there's 20 people that spoke on that stage, and some that I never, David Goggins was there, Jim Quick. I had no idea about who all these people were in that for very first 3 weeks. But I realized that I want to be on that stage. I want to be helping people, and I can't do that if I don't have standards. Um, if I don't have standards for myself and something people can see. I mean, I have a long, long, long process ahead of me, long way to go. I know I'll be on stages somewhere because I got people asking me to speak and share my story. One of them is Catherine Orellana. She's Miriam Orellana's daughter, and they're both, and their son Pedro. They're all part of Mastering Multifamily Being Jetty. She's a college student in Pennsylvania, I think it is. I think it's Penn State or some, or there's another one. Whatever college she's at, but she wants me to interview me on her podcast. So I mean, it's slowly coming together. And when I said that answer to him, I didn't even know why I said it. And I was like, 100 speaking to 100,000 people at Allegiant Stadium. I can't remember why I said it. It's not like I had planned to do that. And uh, then I started doing this podcast, and I didn't even know why I started. I was like, why am I doing this? It was originally called Brokers Live, but it was also I just did it because Pace and Abraham said to do it on the first Get Creative. Um, but it's all part of my journey with God. And then talking to that kid last night, and he told me I inspired him to do some things differently than what he's teaching those kids right now. Um, a lot of people, a lot of people tell me I'm inspiring, encouraging them, which it's getting a lot easier to believe. But I think I can do better and do more if I have some standards and I stick to those standards. Um, I can't be doing good one time, going doing here, doing good up and down. It's where I kind of been plateauing since December last year, or yeah, 2022. I quit doing my one meal a day. I made excuses, and the consequences are back at 300 pounds. Um, I haven't weighed myself since I left Florida. I'm scared to, but I'll do it today, and we're gonna we're getting back on track. We're gonna have standards, because I need to change people's lives. I need to help that kid at the gas station yesterday. I need to help Tony in Las Vegas. I need to help the people on that train. I need to show them what's possible if you put God first in your life, um, or even if you don't. Um, that's my mission. Uh, again, my ultimate mission is to help humanity become a multi-planetary species. Like I said, I highly believe and really want to get into investing and starting businesses with um, artificial intelligence, space exploration, life extension technologies, robotics, and real estate. Those are my five core businesses where I want to be part of and help mankind. you know, so I'm gonna do whatever I can, and it gives me a purpose. To help the homeless, help the sober, help single mothers so they don't end up beating their children and stuff. Help alcoholics. Just all the experiences I went through to get here. I want to hopefully help people avoid those. Even if I can just, like I always said early on when I was doing this, I can just change one person's life. Um, and I know I've already changed a few. Even if it was a little, they did something a little different. I've impacted people's lives already, because I get those messages. Thank you for doing or sharing this, or thank you for being vulnerable. Like when Steve Souther, the owner of Prime Corporate Services, gave me a hug there Sunday. Told me he was proud of me, and I told him like, I'm always gonna shout out the 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 benefits of Prime Corporate Services. Some people don't like Prime PCS. I love PCS. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Tommy Thornburg and him, because I was vulnerable and because I um, was afraid to wasn't afraid to speak up. And I volunteered at that Clever Summit, and I took action. They my journey almost ended then. That was April, and I said, you know what, if I don't get into that May 1st Gator class, I don't get my PCS set up, I'm just gonna crawl back in the hole and die. And it really, that was, it's when, and here's another thing, tithing. That's when God really just started blessing me. I don't care what anybody says, except I know I was tithing at that time. And because I had a job, I haven't had a job now. I have to tithe my income 10%. Um, it. I promised God I would do that. I did that with my first real estate deal with Sam and Cody. I gave God his 10%. I'm gonna give him his 10% every time. Um, that's I believe 100%. That's all these times that I was getting blessed and continue to get blessed. Like last night, I almost forgot about it. Can't remember their name, or I remember their name, but I might say it incorrectly. Um, what is always Where's my story from last night? Oh, there it is. Uh, El Capriccioso hot dogs. So I'm walking. I actually walked the wrong way, going to the wrong bus, but see, little things happen and work out. Walked the wrong way, but there was a hot dog stand, El Capriccioso's hot dogs. And I was like, man, I'm hungry because I hadn't eaten all day. I'm getting back to my one meal a day. I eat at night. I don't eat in the morning and noon. Eat before I go to sleep. Um, I can get into why you do that with the eating one meal a day and fasting later. But I wanted a hot dog, and I asked them, "Hey, how much are the hot dogs?" I only had $3 in my pocket, and he said $5. Like, oh shoot, I only got $3. So I started walking around, and he was like, he come around and he opened up the little part of the tent. He's like, "You want a hot dog?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I only have $3." He goes, "No, yeah, only three." And or he said, "It's three." And I was like, "Oh, okay, three." He's like, "No, no, no, three." I misunderstood him. He was saying free. And he's like, "No, go free. No, no, no money, no dinero." He say, and I was like, "Wow, really?" He goes, "Yeah, you look tired. You need food." And they made me a hot dog. It was amazing when I finally got home and ate it. It was really just it was like a bacon wrapped hot dog, and I put all this stuff on. You put beans, tomatoes, guacamole, and that powdered Mexican cheese and some sauce. It was good. So so I said I'm gonna advertise you. I'm gonna put this on my Instagram, and he showed me his little QR code. Then when he thanked me like a whole bunch of times, thank you for advertising, thank you. But see, it's those little gifts from God. I just keep on getting little gifts all the time. Like Manny helping me, like I mean, getting the luggage from the ladies at JetBlue, which that luggage is gonna be my airline credit to fly to Disney for the Sub 2 meetup in October. Gina Carranza, one of my friends there in Florida, who me and her drove to see Pace and Mina and Jamil have his book signing in Miami. She said, "I'll pick you up from the airport. Um, we'll go together." So She said, we'll stay at one of my Airbnbs in Orlando. I didn't ask her to do it. I didn't ask the guy to give me a hot dog free, but God just keeps on gifting me. Um, like going to community camp and just all these amazing gifts. I mean, I still and like when my Uber got hit coming from home from church last year, May 8th, in 2022. That was a gift. I didn't get really injured bad. I did get injured, and I got to go. Like the next day, I wasn't gonna pursue anything. Like, man, because I have a bench warrant in Las Vegas. um, at the time, I was like, I left the scene of the accident, and well, it was taking Metro like hours to get there, anyways, in Vegas. But I wasn't gonna go get a lawyer. I was like, my knee hurts a little bit, my neck hurting bad. But that was like only the first day. Those people that always say the injury comes on afterwards, that shit is real. But I was working in the office where I was working. There was a new attorney that moved in there, and his assistant used to come inside and smoke on the back porch. And she came out, and I was about to go in, and I was like, I was getting up. I said, "Oh man, my neck hurts." And she's like, "What's wrong?" I said, "Wow, my Uber got hit Sunday coming home from church." And she's like, "Well, come see Michael." I didn't even know she worked for an attorney, and it ended up there was an attorney right there, and I wasn't gonna even pursue it. And so I went and seen Michael, and I got free. Not well, I'm not free, but there was a chiropractor, Daniel Lai. This was in Chinatown. Michael Hugh. I think he's Korean. Um, and I got treated, and ended up when I was about to get kicked out of the drug dealer's house I was living in. In November, I got a check for $12,000 to save me because I was like, shit, this journey's over. I'm gonna be homeless here. And I was almost ready to go back then. I was like, man, this because it got so hard with the elephant challenges, and I got shiny object syndrome. I thought I would have, starting making money with Gator, which I could never get the Gator funded because with the shiny object syndrome, I wasn't performing in the selling the vacations, and I never got my net 30 accounts funded. Um, and I was ready to give up then, and then he gives me $12,000, which got me out of Vegas, bought me a car. The guy went and blew. Like I met the guy at church that sold me the car, and it was a gift. And I still, and before that, um, in August, I was injured on this RTC bus. um, where the bus driver he slammed on the brakes, and they had this new seating configuration where the seats flip up individually instead of the whole row. So I was on the one seat closest to the first exit, not the initial exit, but when you hit the brakes, the two seats that flipped up by themselves, if nobody's in them, they flip up. Well, it dropped me to the floor when he hit the brakes. I hit my neck, popped it, um, and then he didn't stop driving. And I'm on the floor calling. I'm on the phone with Metro for 9 minutes, telling him to stop the bus. Then when he finally does, he went 15 stops. And then the most surreal thing was people kept on getting on and off the bus. It was so freaking surreal and crazy. Only two people offered to help me, and I had a polo on and pants. He said, "I thought you were homeless." So what? Why didn't you stop the bus? Who cares if it's homeless? You know, and that's the attitude people give to homeless people out in Vegas and here in Phoenix. Um, Nobody offered to help those guys. Um, I didn't even notice because I just got on the train, and I was like, I didn't even know see the one guy passed out, the first one, and then the other one, like I said, he was faking. The one that the guards were, knocking on him on the seat. That's why I was laughing because they're like, I knew he was faking. He was drunk, but he was just ignoring him, and that's why I was laughing in the video. I was laughing at because I knew his eyes were open before they got it, and then when they were checking the tickets, he was like, you could see him blink every time they tapped on hit on the seat. You can tell. Um, but that's another gift. I think we're Michael submitted an offer to the bus company for $1.5 million settlement, which it's never going to be that high. That's just the initial starting point. But God just keeps on gifting me with hot dogs and people helping me place to stay, like Ron Northcutt, the sub two student that got me 5 nights at the Hampton Inn when I got off the plane for it. I didn't even ask anybody for help. I had money that I got from my partner, Angel Miller, sub two student. She wanted to join sub two. She just didn't have the money to join full time. And I said, look, I need emergency money. I said, you give me $3,000. I'll put you on my business account. In which I got this job that I have to get caught up with Alicia Tompkins, my payments for sub two, which I was kind of worried about because she's been working really hard with me. She knew I had to go to a community camp, and the job I got to go there was like the 6 hour bus rides for like $5 an hour after all that hours. Um, but everything happens for a reason. All this support, all this stuff, and I know it all comes from God. Um, and this house that me and Tigger were trying to get under contract today, they turned down our offer today. But they're still wanting to work with us. Um, they want the original, what he originally wanted. Um, we're gonna counter another offer, but I gave him over 80,000 over asking price instead of 1,140,000. Offered 1,220,000 with zero down and only 2% interest with a balloon in 10 years, with the stipulation if it doesn't accrue 30% equity, it add another 4 years, an option for every 4 years until it does. I don't think he understood that, that every year, if it doesn't accrue by that time, they have a delay on their balloon payment. Which I don't think he's really doing the math on that. He's where he wants. He wants 50,000 down. He's willing to take a hit on the capital gains. Um, they know that with their other offers, they have to pay their closing costs, and you still got to pay capital gains. And so they're in a little rock and a hard place themselves. And anybody that views that property is going to have an actual inspection and appraisal. I did a walkthrough with a general contractor on Sunday, which was amazing. That was another gift from God. Like, how did the one that was supposed to be their Patty Bauer's brother? He wasn't a licensed general contractor. He was a licensed contractor, a handyman or something, But he wasn't a real GC, and he didn't show up. And then he wanted money to come show up. I'm like, general contractors don't charge you for estimates. You don't charge you to come out. They make an appointment, come out and give you an estimate. So this GC that I met, Jensen, um, and was actually Patty. He met him in line at the food truck, which she probably wouldn't have been in if Steve wouldn't have bossed everybody lunch and got free lunch that day too at the PCS headquarters at the taco truck. So I mean, that was a gift. Um, but I told her, get in line before 12 o'clock. Hurry, 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 because I think they're cutting it off at 12 o'clock. And she got in line, and lo and behold, he was a general contractor, and she come over, but he had to leave, so I had to leave the meetup early, which I didn't want to do because I saw Claudia Vasquez, and I hadn't seen her since Clever Summit. I had a really big crush on Claudia. Um, um, and we walked that property. They need a lot more work than they initially told me, and when Kevin said him and his brother are going to finish the basement. I know why they didn't finish because they need, they gotta need a whole nother AC unit. They need duct work. Their heater needs to be replaced. Their humidifier needs to be replaced. The water system needs to be replaced. It needs a lot of work, and to keep it up to code, um, there's some other issues with the foundation in the back porch. There was cracks in the cement on the floor, but he said that wasn't an issue. But he said to do it right and do it up to code. And he said, "Well, we could do it. I could put ducts in here, but if you ever tried to make these as other bedrooms, um, they wouldn't give you a permit because you need that second air conditioner. You have to get the permit for it and get it as whatever code they have to keep." Um, he said, We can do it the cheaper way, and I'm okay with doing that for you. But if you want to do it right and be able to have this listed as an additional dwelling unit that you could rent out to another family, say, and advertise it as having 3 bedrooms and a kitchen and bath, 2 baths, you have to do it like this. And then it needs some updating on the cabinets upstairs, a couple of little things. Um, so we're not out of the. We still have a shot at it. But as far as my offer, I mean, I thought it was a great offer, giving them $80,000 over asking price, um, 10 years of 2% interest on his equity, 0% down with a balloon in 10 years. Um, because they have that interest at 3.88% adjustable rate mortgage locked in at till 2032. Excuse me. Um, so last night I was praying. I said, I believe, I know that we're gonna get this deal done. But in order for us to, we need 125K downstairs. If we give him 50K down, it's 175K. We need a minimum of 50K to furnish. So we're at 225. I mean, we can still do it. And we gotta put a hot tub in. Gotta have a hot tub for the Airbnb. We still gotta hire an architect or an intern to lay out the downstairs. We need to get the downstairs done by January, because we need those, or actually December. We need a 2 month job, and he said he could probably do it in 2 months. He said, but every day you delay, it's going to be longer. So um, I trust Jensen. He's a great guy. Had a long talk with him driving over there. He looks really success. He knew stuff that I didn't know, and that I know Patty's brother wouldn't have known. Um, Especially about the water system and how they don't even make those parts anymore. He goes, it's common here in Utah. This water system was put all over, and he goes, you can't even get parts where you do have to replace that system. Um, and he just knew he was really super knowledgeable and pointed out things that I would have never known. I would If I would have just walked through that property with just by myself. It would have just been a walkthrough. I would have been like, oh, right away he checked the furnace for last time it was serviced, hadn't been serviced in 2019. Said it looked a little original, um, from 2007 build. So that furnace is 16 years old, and he said, it's probably going to need to do this. If you're going to do it, you might as well replace it now rather than wait to go out. Um, just a lot of little value that he added being there, and that was a gift from God. I mean, just keep on getting gifts, gifts, and gifts. I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in coincidence. I mean, there's a certain degree of luck, but you have to put yourself in spots to have that luck. Um, oh, I didn't expect to go down this. I don't know. This is just what I do sometimes. I don't. That's another thing. I need to start structuring my lives again. Have a daily plan. Oh, and that kid last night, he does social media. I do gotta get help with my social media management. Um, because part of Project Forward, gotta do the Lions Den still. Um, still gotta go to work today. Um, and time, just time keeps on ticking, and it's it's not. I'm not getting any of that back, so I have to be, like I said, more intentional. Realizing I have standards, and there's consequences when those standards aren't kept. Um, I don't know. I hope somebody in the future, if they watch this, I don't know why anybody go back and watch this. But everybody that's watched it today or viewed it however long, maybe you got some value out of it, maybe you didn't. Um, just pouring out of my heart and my truth, and sharing my journey with you. And I appreciate everybody that does watch and view my journey and is part of it. Um, really grateful to have the support, encouragement, belief that people give me, even if they only view it here for a couple minutes. I'm really grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. At least I didn't cry today. Almost did for a second or two there, but um, yeah, I might go need to get a haircut too. Oh, almost forgot. So, those Calendly appointments paying off. Being a connector, um, me and Tigger are gonna get our first PML assistance deal. Antoinette. I can never say her name. It's not Antoinette. It's Antonini or something. It's a long, crazy name. But we got her money, and we're gonna get $3,800. 1,400 to Tigger, 1,400 to me. So I got my first deal as a connector. I've already had one deal as the sub two deal with Sam Singh and Cody Rose. They were my partners on that, and Pajillionaire was the TC. Um, so that's really cool. And I was like, when she told me about it, and then she tells me yesterday, she's like, it should be here today or tomorrow. I'm like, shut up. No way. I mean, I'm getting $1,400 in a day or two. I was like, what? Eh, There's my new down payment on a car or an iPhone. She's like, get another iPhone. You don't need a car. You can just take public transportation still right now. But she's right. I do need the iPhone because mine is completely full, and I'm not deleting any of my pictures. I know they're stored in the iCloud, but I like having them on there. And it's old. It's a 13, and I need a. I've dropped it probably. I had this screen. Oh shit. Oh hey hold on. I do got to get off here. I almost forgot. Um, I got to do a Zoom right now. So see, went way over on because I didn't have standards. I didn't have standards in place, but um, I gotta go. I got a Zoom meeting with Landon Miller and Tigger. Um, have a great day, everybody. Sorry for going down that road.